Good morning. Excellent. Before I begin, I wanted to let you know I was standing on the wings of the stage as I was listening to Jorge. And Jorge, wherever you are, I just have to tell you, it's not about the title that you achieve. It's about the journey that it took to get there. Congratulations on your journey. We should give him a round of applause. I have tremendous respect for people that dedicate their lives to the advancement of others. And in that context, there could be no better person to thank for the kind invitation to be here today than my friend Abigail Golden Vasquez. Abigail, thank you for being here today. And you know, there's somebody else I want to thank. Before I started sitting on publicly traded company boards and running a scalable company, and decade ago, before I was any of those things, there was one woman who was and has. We all know that you can't be what you can't see. And I have looked up to her, and she has inspired me for the last 2 decades. And when Aspen Institute wanted to do the Latinos and Society program, they had to pick one of the most prominent women in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, help me thank Monica Lozano. So I was asked to come today and talk to you a little bit about who I am, what I achieved, how I got there, what were my obstacles, where I'm headed, what I think of the community, all in 15 minutes or less. And if anybody knows me, you know that I can't do anything in 15 minutes or less, but I'm going to strive for 12. And so what I'd like to do is, I'll talk a little bit about who I am, where I came from, what I achieved, but what I really want to talk about is you. So we'll talk a little bit about me and a little bit more about you. Because the reality is that I'm just an ordinary woman with some extraordinary dreams who has learned a lot in the last 2 decades about business and, more importantly, about community. And I want to share those learnings with you. So I'm coming with an open heart and an open mind to share with you not just my story of achievement, but what I really want to talk to you about, what's not in the bio, because that's the important piece. Because you read about all the awards and the accolades, but you never hear about the failures. You never hear about the setbacks. And those are the ones that make you who you are. Because in life, it's not what happens to you, but it's how you react that truly defines you as a person. And so I'm going to describe a little bit about my journey, and what I'd like to do is just tell you what I learned. You know, it only took us 22 years to become an overnight sensation. You would think that we would learn something. So life is like a deck of cards. Everybody gets a different hand. It's what you do with that hand that defines you as a person. I can't tell you who I am. If you want to know who people are, learn about their childhood, learn about how they grew up, learn about who they are. Those are when values are instilled at a very young age. I'm proud to tell you that I am an immigrant. I was born in Quito, Ecuador, and I am one of those immigrants that are living proof that are making positive contributions to this country. My mother and father immigrated here from Quito, Ecuador, South America, and I had several values instilled in my soul. The value of faith, the value of family, the value of hard work, in our case, entrepreneurship, and the value of giving back, and that's civic leadership. My father was an entrepreneur, my mother was a civic leader. My father taught me about humility, the perseverance of running a business. The American dream in our family was entrepreneurship. That's the way that they were going to take their 5 children ahead in life. And so at a very early age, I had a front row seat to watching my parents become entrepreneurs. My mother was a civic leader. She cared not about money, she cared about community. She's the one who taught me to have courage, to have a voice, to stand up. She's the one who said, Nina, we are here in this country to be contributors to make this country a better place. And so with an education, we can unlock potential. And with opportunity, we can advance prosperity. My mother became an honorary consulate to Ecuador. It's something that's only given to very special community servants. From the president of Ecuador. She became the first woman to be the president of La Fede, and she became everything to me that I strive to be for the Hispanic community. She was for the Ecuadorian community. And that is just simply somebody who stands for everyone and who's interested in galvanizing people and helping prosperity and advance prosperity. So at 25 years of age, I am not again, what's not in the bio is I didn't go directly from high school to college. At 17, I was running a business, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. In life, sometimes you have tragedies, and our family had ours. At 17, I was running a business, and I learned a lot that year. I learned that I didn't want to run a business. And I learned that the way that I would move my family forward is through an education. And so I grew up in Los Angeles, California, and I ended up in the great state of Texas. Went to school, started my career in New York City. To make a long story short, at 25 years of age, I think I just dated myself. At 25 years of age, I started this little company called Pinnacle. And at the time, I don't know what the bio says, but the reason I started my company is to advance my family. The reason I started my company is I was given an opportunity of education. And I knew, with a family of 5, the way to advance my family was what I had learned all my life through entrepreneurship. So my company provides IT workforce solutions for the Fortune 500. And at 25 years old, in my apartment floor, I started Pinnacle. I don't have enough time to talk about the journey that can only be described as one of the most amazing journeys and blessings in all my life. In 22 years, I have stared down the barrel of bankruptcy and liquidation of a company. I have stared at almost missing payroll. I have stared at declining, I've stared at the 9/11 attacks that almost put us out of business. I have been through betting the farm. I have been through strategic sessions. I've been through so much in business. I've been through having 4 children while growing a company. And in 2011, when we almost went out of business, I had to make a pivotal decision. It's at your hardest moments that you find your most inner strength, just like Jorge did. It's at those moments in your life, just like I made a decision at 17 that I was going to get a college education. In 2001, I had to make a decision. Were we going to go out of business or not? It's at your hardest moments that you find your most inner strength. I decided failure is never an option, because that is how I grew up. Failure is not an option. As an immigrant, failure never is. You find a way. As an entrepreneur, you find a way. In 2001, the company was renaissanced. Put my best hat on, and that is the recruiting hat, and surrounded myself by some of the best people in the industry. And I'm proud to tell you that since 2001 and to date, for the last 13 years, we've been on one of the fastest growing company lists, according to Inc. magazine, for over 13 years, and here's how. People. People. I've learned in life, and this is the same in organizations or nonprofits or in business, when you're building something larger than yourself, that's when you get people engaged. When it stops being about you and starts being about something so much larger, that's when you're going to galvanize people. Pinnacle grew that year. We went from 2 million to 4 million to 6 million to 10 million. Then there was an increase to 40 million. Then they went to 160 million, then 200, then 400, and the rest is history. 4 children in between, family members, lots of struggle. What I can tell you today, after 230 local and national awards, I can tell you some of the most interesting moments that happened in business for me was 2 weeks ago. You see, I grew up in Los Angeles, California, and I walked into the Bonaventure Hotel 29 years ago in a prom dress. And 2 weeks ago, I walked into the Bonaventure Hotel 29 years later, except this time being named as the fastest growing women-owned business in America. And it helped me realize that There is no such thing as an overnight sensation. It takes hard work, it takes perseverance, and it takes people. As I accepted the award, I talked about some of my values, and that is, the award does not belong to me. Individuals don't build companies. People do. I dedicated the award to people, to advocates, to mentors, to sponsors, to people who gave us opportunity, to family who's always standing sternly behind you, and more importantly, to the customers and corporations that give you that opportunity. In my mind, corporations play a very big role to the advancement of Hispanic entrepreneurship. So I have dedicated my life to advancing entrepreneurship in America. I've seen with my own eyes in 5 different continents, people build companies to help their families. Whether you're in Vietnam, whether you're in Jordan, whether you're in Bahrain, especially women. I didn't start Pinnacle for the money. I started it for the purpose. And you see that not just in the United States, but you see it all over the world. I've had a privilege to actually see and meet many people who share those same values. So for me, entrepreneurship has been the secret sauce to my family. And I want to be able to open doors to make sure that that's the case for entrepreneurs in this country. I have great respect for people who dedicate their lives, as I said, to the advancement of others. And in small business, I have to say, we should recognize the work of the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce and the Latino Coalition who is here. Hector, thank you for being here. Thank you for the work you're doing in small business. The United States has 200 chambers across the country. Some of the fastest and largest and most dynamic chambers are in this room today. And yes, you guessed it right. Omar Duque with the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is here with us. And of course, Sylvia Prosper, who runs the San Antonio Chamber. Let's give her, Madam Chair, a round of applause too. They know that there are 4.4-ish million, according to Stanford. They know that there are 4.4 million Hispanic businesses in this country. And they know that if they can take those Hispanic businesses and move them forward, we'll make a better America. And Stanford, we're happy to have the Stanford L-Ban in the house today. Stanford did a study. A bunch of Stanford alumni got together and said, hey, how can we help? How can we help advance prosperity for the Hispanic community? What is it that we can do to help Hispanics advance and create wealth in America? And the answer they came up with is entrepreneurship. But we're not all entrepreneurs. There's a lot of corporations. And while I agree that unlocking potential comes at the education level, the advancing prosperity comes with opportunity. And the opportunity piece, this is the piece that I've been focused on a lot. Latinos in the C-suite, Latinos on corporate boards, Latinos as senior vice presidents, Latinos in positions of power, Latinos in elected officials. That's the area that we need to work on. That's the area that we can work on. And you say, why Latinos? I was asked to answer the question, why Latinos? And in 3 minutes or less, I can tell you, I'm not going to inundate you with statistics. I'm not going to tell you that we're responsible for 50% of the growth in the American population. I'm not going to tell you that our average age is 15 years younger than the American. I'm not going to tell you all the statistics that you already hear. I'm just going to tell you one thing. If you are not related to a Hispanic, you soon will be. It's a language everybody understands. I'm just saying. If you don't believe me, ask my German husband. But anyways, the reality is there are 3 things I want to leave you with today in my limited time. I could talk forever because I get so excited and passionate about this. But before I leave you my 3 things, we're sitting in this room today appropriately in a red seat because of Target. I'd like to thank Target and of course, my dear friend Laisha Ward, who has been by our side creating these opportunities for Latinos in society. Thank you, Laisha. So my quick learnings that I want you to take away, because I was also asked to talk about my secret sauce. Okay, very limited time. I want to talk to you about some of the most, I've learned so much in life, and so much in business, and so much in community. I want to boil it down to 3 things you could take away. Number 1, credibility is everything. It's absolutely everything. And credibility comes. A good friend, Carla Harris, taught me that there's 2 kinds of currencies. as you're ascending in corporate America, or as you're growing your business, or as you're moving through life, there are two kinds of currencies: performance currency and relationship currency. And you've got to have both. Performance currency means be really good at what you do. Be crazy good at what you do. Build a reputation on what you do consistently, year after year after year. And relationship currency is a result of your deposits. Make daily deposits in the bank of relationships. Daily deposits in the bank of relationships. Because those relationships will pay off. For me, 15 years of deposits. I was nominated to be, my nominator, as I became the very first woman in the history of all of Cinemark to sit on their board, a global company operating in 15 different countries. That nomination came from someone I met 15 years ago. And when they decided to go out and have a seat for a woman, I was blessed and lucky enough that Roger Staubach said, all right, let's have the seat for the woman, and I was blessed enough to be the first woman to sit on that board. But it's not enough to be the first, and it's not enough to be the only. The real accolade is this year. On the slate, there's not one, there's not two. 3 years later, we're inducting our third woman on a corporate board. So what I've learned is not enough to get there. When you get to the seat, when you get your seat at the table, you actually have to do something with it. Credibility is everything. Two currencies: performance currency, relationship currency. The next thing, I don't know a successful business owner, and this is my closing comment. I don't know a successful person or a successful business owner that is not giving back. My mother taught me, do not strive to be a person of success. Strive to be a person of value. Be helpful to somebody, and success will follow. And you know, these lists are great, most powerful this, most powerful that. The secret to power, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be powerful, the most powerful people give it away. The most powerful people empower other people. It's not about being powerful, it's about being influential, and the only way you become influential is by releasing and relinquishing that power and empowering others to do the same. I've never met a person that's successful that isn't doing something in their community. My mother taught me that a long time ago. She was very unimpressed with our business success. Oye, mami, I'm running a $100 million business. Ay, mija, qué lindo. I'm like, Mom, I'm on a corporate board. She's like, ¿y? I'm like, Mom, I'm on the Kohl's department store board. She's like, oh, do you get a discount? She's just so unimpressed with business. She's only impressed with legacy. When you're helping people you do not know, when you're opening doors of opportunity for people you've never heard of and you'll never meet, and lives by the saying, to whom much is given, so much is expected. I've dedicated my life to really doing just that. It's wonderful to have all these successes, but what are they for if you're not using them to open doors for people? Credibility is everything. And doing your part. You read all these statistics about Latinos, and everyone gets all mad. I do too. But one thing I learned is don't get mad, get motivated. If we spend our lives being angry, being mad, that takes energy. Our energy can be used doing positive things and doing good and building. And so don't get mad, get motivated. I'm going to leave you with what I keep saying I'm going to leave you and I don't. Isn't that funny? Are you catching that? I'm catching that. I'm going to leave you with a lesson my mother taught me really throughout my life, and she's consistently reminding me of it. 2 years ago in my home country of Ecuador, they had one of the largest earthquakes in the world. And my mom calls me and says, Oye, Nina, what are you going to do about the earthquake? I'm like, Mom, are you serious? I've got like 4 kids, I got this business, I got this White House appointment, I've been running around, I've got way too much on my mind to think about the Ecuador earthquake. And she says, Ay, mija, you're not going to do anything about the earthquake? And I said, Mom, there's like 1,000 people hurt. There are hundreds of people without a home. Like, what's little old me going to do? I don't know that the contributions that I can make, I mean, they need the Red Cross, they need the National Guard. And she said, ay, mija, after all these years, you still haven't learned. And this is the message. And so I got really upset. And I said, Mom, I can't put Ecuador on my back too. And she didn't look at me, we were on the phone, and she said, ay, mija, I'm not asking you to put Ecuador on your back. I'm asking you to do your part. That is my call to action to you today. I'm not asking you to put the advancement and prosperity of the Hispanic community on your back. I'm asking you to do your part. I decided to take my love of triathlon, swimming, biking, and running, preferably in the same hour. I found a half Ironman in the coast of Ecuador. I leveraged my friends and family on Facebook and Twitter, started a social media campaign. I partnered with the Rotary Club in Ecuador. I found 3 Jesuit priests that had land. And ladies and gentlemen, July of last year took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of people from a lot of different countries. We were able to raise $150,000. I was able to cross the finish line of a half Ironman. And we will be cutting the ribbon this fall of 40 homes in the coast of Ecuador. And it doesn't have to be building homes. It doesn't have to be something outrageous. It could be something impactful. But in every city, in everything we do, try to leave our impact. And so I've ran out of time, but I'm here to tell you that as Latinos in this room are some of the most predominant Latinos in the country. I know who you are. I see you. We've been given the gift of leadership and the gift of influence. And through our lives, we're going to go through a lot. And it takes courage. My last theme of the year, and if I had to give you a secret sauce, it takes courage. And that courage has to be to do what's right even in the face of what's wrong. Even when it's easy to not do something, have courage. It takes courage to be an immigrant and grow up in America when English is not your first language. It takes courage to go to school in a different state that we never know anybody. It takes courage to start a business. It takes courage to throw yourself in the Pacific Ocean and swim with the sharks, which I love to do. It takes a lot of courage, but it takes real courage to not stand with everybody else and stand alone. It takes courage to do the right thing. And so as you move forward in your careers, I ask you to think about courage, because success is not final and failure is not fatal. It takes courage to keep moving. I look forward to see what your courage brings to this country. Thank you.